Hey everybody, Matt here with the Most Adequate Collection, and today I'm going to go over some of my new pickups for the month of March 2026. A little late getting this video out because we just returned home yesterday from a 1 week visit to my parents' house in Arizona. They live primarily up in Fargo, but we've gotten to that retirement age of where they decided to spend their winters down south. So a few years ago, they bought themselves a house in Arizona, in between Tucson and Phoenix, in a small town of Elo, which is right next to Casa Grande, if any of you are familiar with that area. But we go visit every year for spring break, primarily because it's easier to get the girls off of school then, when there's less school that they will potentially have to miss. But then also for my own selfish motivations, because the Chicago Cubs have the spring training down there. And so I like to go there during that time. The girls get to have their fun, sit by the pool, go see a few different sites, and I get to go see some baseball games. Didn't work out this year. The girls are figure skaters, or at least number one and number three are, and their annual spring ice show was taking place on spring break. So that just wasn't going to happen. So instead, we went for the Easter weekend. Went from Thursday to Thursday, so they did have to miss a decent amount of school. But my work schedule was pretty favorable to it, so I only had to miss a day of work for the entire week, just because of my on-off days-night schedule. But and the important thing is we had some fun. We got some sun. The oldest one spent about 90% of the time at the pool getting a suntan. The middle one, as usual, spent 90% of the time inside. And our youngest kind of did a mixture of both. We did go get to see the ostrich farm. It's called, was it Rooster Cogsburn's Ostrich Farm, in between where we were and Tucson. And the cool thing there, yes, it's billed as ostrich farm, but what they do is it's mostly a feeding sanctuary, I guess. They've got goats, they've got deer, ostriches, of course, birds, rabbits, sheep, and you pay your money, pay your price of admission. They give you all sorts of different food that you can feed the animals, and the girls absolutely love that. There have been things over the years where they kind of, I don't know about grow out of, but at least kind of had their fill of it. They're done with it. But this is one that through the years that they still really have a good time and really get to enjoy getting to see. Now, with spring training being done, I didn't get to go to any baseball games. Or at least, no, I didn't get to go to any spring training games. Didn't get to see the Cubs play. But as you could see from my hat, I did get to go to a college game. We got to see the Arizona State University Sun Devils play against the University of Nevada, Las Vegas Rebels. ASU has a really good team this year. I think they were 23-9 going into this game. UNLV was 18-4. The local team didn't win. It was a pretty good, exciting game. Ended up being, I want to say 7-9, if I remember right. But had a good time. I went, my wife went, my dad went. We had 4 tickets, but none of the girls wanted to go with, so it was just the 3 of us. But we had a blast. Baseball is always good. Doesn't matter if it's pros, minor leagues, college, high school. Doesn't matter. Baseball is always a great game to watch in person. And we had a great time. But now we're back here at home. Flew into the Fargo airport yesterday, and I don't know if I've ever seen my 11-year-old so disappointed than looking out of the airplane window and seeing snow on the ground after a week in Arizona. But it isn't too bad. But anyways, we're not here for my vacation. We're here to show off some cards. So most of my acquisitions from March came from 2 card shows in Fargo. The first one is a smaller one that's done every few months at the Holiday Inn. I didn't bother checking out how many tables there were, but it's a decent one. I did pick up a few good vintage cards last fall when I went. I didn't get as much this time around, but did get a few, mostly hockey. And it's kind of the thing I've noticed with me with my baseball and hockey purchases is I do tend to go vintage on baseball, probably meaning 50s. My primarily look 50s, 60s, that era. I like to bolster my Ernie Banks collection. But when it comes to hockey, I like it more modern. I don't really have the same draw to the vintage hockey market that I do with baseball. But I still collect both with equal passion. So went a little more modern. One of them I got was from 2020 to 2021 Upper Deck. It is an insert of Brock Besser from the Vancouver Canucks. Now, I did recently send a bunch of Vancouver Canucks cards over to Rob at Bucks and Six, because I don't really have I had a lot of Vancouver Canucks cards, didn't have a lot of space in my collection for them. This one is different, though. Brock Besser played his college hockey at the University of North Dakota. And a few years back, my wife and I went with a coworker of mine to a game at the Ralph Engelstad Arena, because, of course, college hockey is great, one of the best programs in the country. But also the Ralph Engelstad Arena is probably one of the most modern, state-of-the-art, professional-looking hockey arenas in the college game. So I thought it was cool. It would be cool to show that to her. A coworker of mine who was in the military at the time, in the National Guard, got tickets for their Seats for Soldiers program. So that he got the seats for that one. Brought my wife and I along. And Brock Besser was playing for the team and scored a hat trick in that game. So no matter what's been going on, he's been his name has always been one on my radar that kind of I notice whenever it comes up. And it's cool to have a card of his. I don't know that I have any of his, because I think he got to the NHL after I kind of put a pause on my collecting. But now that I'm kind of back into things, I certainly want to catch up and get a few cards of his. But this is the first one. Really cool looking card, blue foil. Like it a lot. Next up is another one. I just thought it looked like a cool card, which is from 2023-24 Upper Deck, and it's the glaring insert of Alex Ovechkin. One of the best players in modern times and of all times, really. Just recently broke the career goal scoring record, previously held by Wayne Gretzky. And it's just a really cool looking card. You really just got it kind of for the visual of it. And I like Ovechkin as well. I don't mind having his stuff in my collection. I've got plenty of his, but one more card wouldn't hurt. Next up, Kirill Kaprizov from the Minnesota Wild. 23-24 Upper Deck Canvas insert. These I usually tend to take just an alternate shot, canvasy looking finish to the card. They always look great photography. But you know, it's another guy who I don't really have a lot of his, being kind of the local team. Even though my primary team is the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Wild is kind of my secondary team, meaning that I live in Minnesota, so it's always great to pick up some of their stuff. Next two do go in my Pittsburgh Penguins collection, primarily my Sidney Crosby collection. Same year, 23-24 Upper Deck Eclipse insert. Great to add to the collection. And lastly, I don't know if the dealer knew what he had with this, but it is from also 23-24 Upper Deck, the Deep Roots insert. Now, if you'll notice the purple on the foil, primarily these cards, which were inserted 1 in every 4 packs, had a silver foil, but there is a parallel that has the purple, which is this one. And I kind of was curious because there's no serial numbering to this about insertion rates, and apparently the purple parallels are inserted at a rate of 1 in every 144 packs, which I think would be, I'm not trying to do math in my head, but it ain't working too well. I think it's like 1 in every 4 hobby boxes, which might be like a 2 per case hit or 3 per case hit, depending on how many are inserted. But Sidney Crosby, top valued player, my favorite current player, and at a card that rare. And pretty sure the dealer didn't know what he had with it, because I didn't even know what it was at the time. But anyways, the price tag on these, $2 and $3 for these two. These were in the penny sleeves. Didn't have a price tag on them. Just handed these to the dealer and asked him how much. $5 for all 5 cards. So can't beat that bargain. Next up, I went to a bigger card show the very next week in West Fargo at the West Fargo High School. This is a bigger show, probably 4 or 5 times as big as the Holiday Inn one. Lots more dealers, probably more people, more out of town dealers, I think. And I didn't see much of the TCG stuff at the Holiday Inn one, but there was more of a presence here at this, which is fine. If that's what people are into, good for them. But probably about the same amount of vintage dealers, though. But I did find one that had a few cards that I wanted. And as luck would turn out, and I didn't even know this at the time, but the table was being manned or helped with by recent YouTube Hall of Famer Stuke of Stuke's baseball cards and curiosities. Didn't know that at the time. I hadn't quite followed his channel yet, but as I kind of found or was following the YouTube rabbit hole a few weeks later, I noticed with one of his videos setting up for a Fargo card show a lot of familiarity, and it was this one that I bought these cards from. I didn't buy them from him. I think he said, I commented on his video, and he said he was helping run the table for his local card shop, if I remember right. I think he follows my videos. Maybe he'll correct me if I'm wrong. But this was the card show at the West Fargo at the high school. Anyways, got a card to add to my Ernie Banks collection from 1959. This is the Baseball Thrills subset. It says Hustler Banks wins MVP award. And I believe this is recognizing his 1958 Most Valuable Player award. He would win it also in 1959, and at the time would become the only National League player to win it in consecutive years. It's been done plenty of times since then, most recently in literally the most recent 2 years with Shohei Ohtani and in the Los Angeles Dodgers. But this was the first. There's a really cool photo of Banks sliding into catcher. Yeah, sliding into home, obviously. So, see, the catcher's mitt, catcher's equipment. Not really sure who the catcher was of this particular game, though certainly Ernie Banks sliding into home. Great card to add to the collection. I've got it in my display case now. And the next two, being that I live in the Fargo-Moorhead area, the most well-known athlete coming out of Fargo is Roger Maris. And I did want to add a little bit more of a Roger Maris presence to my collection. The question I've always had was, do you go with the 1961 card, which is from the year that he hit his 61 home runs, or do you go with the 1962 card, which is the first card that has that 1961 home run stat line? And if you go with both, how do you display them to recognize the feed? Because I kind of want both, but obviously you display the 61 facing forward, but with the 62, does that display forward, or do you flip it and display the stat line? I didn't realize it at the time, but when I was pouring through the 1962 singles, I got my answer. And it was in a way I did not expect. The answer is you do both. You display both cards facing forward, but then how do you recognize that 1961 stat line? Well, you do it with this card. The home run leader, the AL home run leaders card from 1962, which features Roger Maris, New York, 61, which is going to look great next to this card, his 1962 Topps card. Now, I have not gotten the 61 yet. I was on a limited budget at the show, and those three cards, the Banks and the two Roger Marises, met that budget. But eventually that 61 card will be in the collection, will be displayed right next to these two. So you're going to put the 61 You're going to put the league leaders card in the middle to show the stat line, and then the 62 right next to it. It's going to be perfect. But that is my purchases. I did get in the and I don't want to even say exchange, but I sent Rob at Bucks and Six a bunch of cards. He's a big Vancouver Canucks collector. I had a bunch of Vancouver Canucks cards that I didn't really have a spot for. And then after he got mine, he sent me a few cards back. And the highlight for me is this first Bowman card autograph of Houston Astros pitcher Josh Hader, who's just been an absolute stud for the team. Now, the Cubs are my primary team, but I grew up in the Houston area, so I do have a lot of love for the Houston Astros. And if I have a secondary baseball team, it would either be the Twins or the Astros. But I grew up going to Astros games back when it was at the Astrodome. And then I went to the new park back when it was Enron Field. And then eventually it became Minute Maid Park, and I think they've changed it to either Daikin Park or Daikin Field. I haven't gone to it since the name change, but I spent a lot of time going to Astros games as a kid. So I have a lot of love for the team. And the great thing here, apart from it being in his Slab City slab, is it's not necessarily one I'm going to look for as my collecting needs at a card show. If I'm at a card show, I'm looking for Penguins, I'm looking for Cubs, and I don't know if the Astros kind of pique my interest at a card show as much as maybe they should. But the great thing here is when somebody sends you a card that you wouldn't necessarily buy for yourself, but it still has a spot for you in your collection. And I thought that's why that was the perfect one of the perfect cards for him to send me. So it was a great month overall. I didn't have to spend a ton of money. I think I spent $5 at the first card show, $40 at the second, and so under $50 for the month. And I got some great items to add to my collection. So that's it for today. I'll be back for some more soon, now that I'm back home and can do a little bit more content. But until then, thanks for watching.